You opened this video because you want to understand responsive search ads in Google Ads a little bit better. So we're going to cover that in this video. We're going to look at what they actually are, where they came from, how do they work, what's all the different features, and then we're going to go into some particular kind of hidden features of them, which I think are really important to give you control back in what they actually do for you, which I find really crucial to find results for my clients. So that's why I'm talking to you about this today. I run a paid ads agency, so we do this day in, day out.
Wow.
So we have a really great perspective of it. So without further ado, let's dig into this and get into responsive search ads for Google Ads. So we are now in a responsive search ad. So you'd go into any search campaign, which is what these responsive ads are for, and then you go into a particular ad group, and then within there you're able to press the little plus button to create a new responsive search ad. So what are they firstly? So before responsive search ads we had expanded text ads. These are ultimately a kind of old version.
Come on, kid, I'm not that old.
Which was much less kind of intelligent in quotes, because you'll learn from this video that not everything that it's doing within the responsive search ad is actually always that intelligent.
You're a certified genius.
But generally speaking, the expanded text ad was a much simpler format where it didn't automatically do loads of testing for you. It just very simply had places that you would put each of the different headlines that you wanted to place in the order that you wanted to place them, and that was it. So you would often make a lot more expanded text ads and be testing different variations of things. Nowadays you have the responsive search ad, which does a huge amount of A/B testing all the time between each of these different headlines and variables that you set into the system, and then you might still make 2 or 3 or even 4 responsive search ads within an ad group, but generally speaking you do a lot less than you did with the expanded text ads, because it does a lot of the testing for you
like a robot
within the responsive search ad itself. So with that background, let's go into more of the practical side of it. So to start, let's go from the beginning. So at the very top, you might not be able to see this quite at the top here, but we are in one ad group. We have certain keywords, of course, that we're trying to target. So that's the entire point of an ad group, is we're creating an ad for those specific keywords. So in this case, we're going with sustainable marketing agency. So that might be one that we want to focus on because we work with a lot of ethical brands, sustainable brands. So that's a niche that we might want to be searching for. And so we're going to have keywords connected to that so that people might find us. So that's what we're focused on for this particular thing. First thing to talk about, this ad strength stuff. So in a very simple way, it reminds you of some very obvious things that you do need to be doing.
Obviously.
Like add more headlines. Obviously you need to have some headlines. Include popular keywords in your headlines. So popular keywords being, if I'm trying to target sustainable marketing agency, then we should have sustainable marketing agency or a very close version of it within one of the headlines near the top. That's realistically the case. So that's kind of obvious again, but it is an important thing to point out. So you do want to be ticking that box often. Make your headlines unique. This one, to be honest, is so wildly all over the place. Like, it's just Google's weird opinion about what is a unique headline. So I wouldn't worry too much about that one, and make your descriptions as well more unique. Again, I wouldn't worry about that too much.
Look, don't worry. Everything's gonna be fine.
Yeah, really, you want to just be thinking about the user's experience, seeing this advert and how they're going to react. That's what you should be really considering, not this ad strength stuff. And we often create ads which can be medium or even low strength, and that's not a problem. Basically, don't think about this much. Don't really care about it. Just follow the best practice, which I'll be talking about in this video, and don't worry if this ends up as a low ad strength. Sometimes it can be a signal that you have done stuff the wrong way, but a lot of the time it's just Google being Google, trying to force you to be really broad with how you do things so that it can have complete control. But Google is often wrong with how it does things, so it's better for you to have control. So first step, the URL. So the only thing to mention on this particular field is if you just put in, let's say, our website, which is snowballcreations.com, Google won't like it. You can see it's already given us a flag. So it needs to have, to ensure that your customer's information is protected, use HTTPS. So all that is when you grab the URL, if we're just going to go over to our website quickly, you go to the hyperlink to the search bar and copy from the search bar the website, and then paste that in instead, and see what that does for you automatically. Is it automatically adds this HTTPS : / and then the slash at the end, and now you can see that warning is gone. All that is that this is the website that we've secured with certificates, and so Google knows that this is a safe, secure website, and so that's what it's looking for. So that's the first little red flag. If you don't remember to add those, it can cause real problems and bugs, so just remember to do that. But obviously this is where you're sending the customers to. That's the other thing to be important of. So we're sending them to the homepage, but if it was a particular product or a particular service or a feature in your website, obviously you just put that URL in there instead. Then we have the display path. So this I see very often not used. This is just the display path. So it's not where you send people. The final URL is where you send people. But let's say this is basically a little extra real estate you get, which again, you can connect to the customer's search. So if we're looking for sustainable marketing agency, the really obvious thing to do here would be put something like, I don't know if I'll fit this, sustainable, I think what I did, marketing agency, not quite, so I'll probably do that, sustainable marketing agency. And if I just click off here, you can see now it has, this doesn't always show all of them, but you can see it has sustainable at least here, and in different versions of the different type of ad that you might end up with, you can see other kind of versions of that. So that's a really good place to add more keywords, or the keywords for that particular ad group is most often how I might use that. And then let's go down to the headlines section. So headlines, generally speaking, you can see it's got headline 1, 2, and 3. There's only so much space that you have. But we're going to be putting the different headlines we might use here. I'm going to just click a couple of these automated ones to give us examples. But yeah, generally speaking, we want to be using the headline 1, very likely connected to exactly what that ad group's searches are. So if it's sustainable marketing agency, we're going to use sustainable marketing agency in headline 1. And if we also want to often have a few variations of that main keyword, so sustainable marketing agency, what about like a sustainable marketing agency? And arguably you might do something like sustainable advertising agency. It is slightly different, but I think you could argue that marketing agency and advertising agency are very interchangeable, so that could be an interesting one to test. So these are connected to your main ad group's keyword. Maybe you've got a few variations of keywords, you might have a few variations to do that there. And maybe we might do one more. I often have the first 3 or 4 connected specifically to this ad group. And then after that, I'll do more benefit-based. You want to think about the values of the company, the benefits of the company. So for us, it might be the great ROAS that we deliver, the fact that we save you time. It could be the fact that we have ethical principles behind our business when we're working with you. It could be the fact that we have experience with both the USA and the UK markets. There's loads of different things that we could be talking about. And so we want to be summing these up within these headlines. And as you can see, these headlines get used in this big blue area. So the first headline 1 and 2 are really like 70%, say, of the impact of your ad. Like the display path does make a difference. The descriptions do make a difference. The site links do make a difference. But the headline is really the lion's share of what's going to make you get a good click-through rate or not. So playing around with which is headline 1 and which is headline 2, and all of the rest of it, like thinking what are the big benefits. If, for example, you're a SaaS company, we work with a lot of SaaS as my agency, free trial. If you have a free trial, that's a very good idea to try putting into your headlines, testing that.
Pro bono, it's free.
If you have some kind of really impactful results that you deliver, that can be great. Or sometimes, what's an interesting point to make, is sometimes you want to almost pre-select people. So if I was, like for us, for example, the average cost per click is very high because the average value of a customer choosing to work with us as an agency is high. And so we might want to put the fact that our minimum ad spend is actually £2,000. So if you can't afford £2,000 or $2,400, you're too early on in your journey to be able to work with us as an agency. And so for you to click on our advert is a waste of our investment into that. So that's sometimes a good idea too, is that you're actually trying to pre-select. That's a really interesting alternative headline that people don't think about.
Hey, you know, I didn't think about that.
And the other things to point out is there's a maximum of 30 characters generally. This has changed over the years, but right now it's 30. And so I generally like to try to use the most of that. Every now and then, though, that's not the case. Like maybe you've got a really punchy, shorter version. And sometimes I think if you've got shorter ones, it's more likely to use all three of the headlines. Like if we just put sustainable in here and marketing agency, and let's try test. Let's just put another random word in here. So there you go. So you can see it's got sustainable, a pipe, which means that it's the next headline, and then the next one, and then the third one. So we're able to fit all three headlines in here because we've got some shorter ones. So you don't necessarily have to be using all 30 characters. I often like to because it feels like it maximizes that space.
And here's the thing, it'll give us so much extra space in our room to do activities.
And sometimes it does go bigger and beyond what this preview is showing you here, but that's just an interesting point to make, is using this character limit in an interesting, like, larger way can be a good idea. And then let's go down to the description. So the description is this text box here. So let's just put in one example. I'm just going to copy a couple from that they give us here. So these, it basically will pretty much always be using 2 descriptions of your 4. So you obviously need to at least do 2. I like to try to maximize this and use all 4. I don't always, but I generally do. And then this, you can see, shows up all of this text. It's really nice. You can see it starts the second one from here, I believe. Obviously it keeps changing. We pause it. Snowball Creations, and then it says, yeah, Sustainable Marketing Agency from here. You can see this full stop. So it adds a full stop at the end of this, so you don't have to add a full stop. And then it goes into the next. And so these are good. They do make a difference. I try to use them as obviously just a larger description. I often have the first description be more of a practical, direct explanation of what the business actually does. And then the second one is a bit more of a kind of values, benefits, reasons to be clicking in a kind of secondary way. So that's a really important space to use. And then further down, we've got some extensions. So we have image extensions, which you'll always want to add. So if we just quickly add one, I don't know if I have any in here right now. Let's just do this random image. So there you go. So if I just click save and screw it, let's hit apply. And if we go over to desktop, it's always hard to get this thing to show you. So this is where the image extension comes in. It's looking a little funny on my screen right now because it's got this grey background, but this does make quite a significant difference actually to how often people click on your ad. So make sure you use this image extension. If you're a company like us, obviously we don't really have images necessarily in many ways, but you could do things like images of the team or representative images, like a business owner who's happy they're making loads of money from their ads, or whatever the thing might be. And of course, if you're e-commerce, you could do like an assortment of the different products you sell, or if you just sell one product, obviously a picture of that one product. And you want to have a wide variety, and then let Google test different things. And then we have site links. These are also really important to add. So you can see we've done the different channels that we primarily work in. And then we also have other things that we have. So we can call outs are generally a good idea to use. These are small bits of text that go even below this. So you can see in that kind of grey down here, these are the call outs that we're using. And then there's loads of other stuff you can do. I'm not going to go into all of it. You can do promotions, you can do prices, you can do lead forms, all sorts of stuff, but I'm not going to go into all of that. But yeah, you can see that the description here, the other things mentioned are the description has 90 characters. It's a lot longer than the 30 for the headlines. And then the other last thing to bring up is pinning. So this is a feature that many people miss out on. So you can see here, when I hover over this first pin and click on this, so pin this headline, choose a position. So this is a great way to take a bit more control back. So the responsive search ad took a lot of control away from us compared to the expanded text ad. But luckily, you can see here, we are still allowed to take some control.
Don't take that away from me.
So you can say, firstly, I want you to always use this headline somewhere in the ad. It has to be used in every variation. So that's if you might have something that you know is a keyword specific one. You want to have it somewhere in the ad, somewhere, that's fine. So this is one level of control. And then another one which we might want to use is we might know that in this ad group we always want to have Sustainable Marketing Agency show up first because we know someone has just searched for that. So it's just crucial really that someone is going to be seeing that because we know it makes a big difference to have that for click-through rates. So I'm going to hit show in only position 1. But you do still want to let Google have ability to test. So this is why I might often have multiple for that headline position 1, like I talked about. So a sustainable marketing agency. And then I'll also position that, I'll pin that to headline position 1. And then let's say our big benefits were book a free audit and let's say London-based pros for US, whatever that might be. Like, so these are some of the big benefits. So we might want to pin those because we know they're the big winners into position 2. So then it's always going to be selecting one of these 2 for position 2, as you can see here. And then I would add lots more here. So this is the ad. I've kind of run over it in a high level. Let me show you more of a complete one, which we've done for Snowball Creations itself. So here you go. So this is with Sustainable Marketing Agency as the keyword again. So you can see again, ad strength average, not excellent, but I don't care. I don't give a fuck, to put it bluntly.
Fugazi, fugazi, it's a wazi, it's a woozy, it's a fairy dust.
It says that the popular keywords maybe aren't so perfect because I've not used some others. This is actually wrong anyway. This often bugs. We don't even have these keywords in this ad group, so it's just wrong. Make your headlines more unique. You know, what does that even mean?
I don't think it means anything.
You know, so ignore that. Don't worry about it. Ad strength average or even poor can be perfectly fine. The URL, so we're going into a particular landing page in this particular ad group. And then we have the display path. As you can see, I did exactly like I talked about. I've used that to show off the particular responsive search ads keywords, in particular, this particular ad group that we're focused on. So people see, again, sustainable here. It doesn't always show marketing agency as well, but maybe I'd want to try and make it show that agency part. So I might put just this, and maybe that'll start to show it. There you go, sustainable agency. I think this does sometimes mislead us, though. Sometimes it's good to use the entire thing. So you might want to have sustainable marketing agency still. And then as we go down, you can see I've used pinning, and I've got 3 variations: sustainable marketing agency, sustainable marketing agency, sustainable ad agency. So these are 3 that I've pinned to 1. And then these are this is a particular test that we're doing for this exact responsive search ad. So we often create 2 responsive search ads and we battle them against each other, and we'll have a different theme for each of them. So the other one that we did, which won out, was one that focused on the fact that we manage Google ads, but we also manage Facebook ads, LinkedIn ads. So we're a multi-channel agency, and we think that's quite an interesting, unique selling point. And so we put that as the main headline too. And then for this one, though, we've created a new advert, which is focused on just really the fact that we're really great at delivering strong results. So ROAS is return on ad spend. So that's saying we snowball your return on ad spend, or we give you the ROI that you deserve, or we give you that 5x ROAS. So we get an average of 5.1x ROAS. So we thought that might be a really big way to sell someone clicking on our advert instead of somebody else's. So we're testing this. So we have these pinned to 2, and then we have a collection of others that can potentially go into position headline 3, which you can see are just different types of value that we bring. So we focus on a lot of brands that have a positive impact on the world, amongst other stuff that we do. So we talk about that. We talk about the fact that we're multi-channel still. We talk about a free audit, other kind of good stuff like this. And then we have descriptions. So like I said, this first description really just kind of sums us up in a very obvious, blunt way. And then we have others which are more of a benefits around the brand. So book in a free audit, stop accepting unprofitable ads, average ROAS, stuff like this. And then I've not yet added image extensions to this advert, but I'll be doing that later. So you can see this is more of a complete advert using pinning, which many people miss out on, and it'll make a big difference for you to really be able to take a bit of control back, and so then test different opportunities of angles of how you might create your adverts, and make a big difference to the click-through rate and the conversion rate from your ads with Google Ads. Hopefully this has been helpful for you understanding the responsive search ads. I really love the pinning feature in particular. Make sure to use it. Please do leave a comment if you have any other questions around this, and otherwise I will see you next Wednesday.